songo suena. Chande berrocha alegre y Miami.
Woo! Man, hey everyone, this is Diamond Rivera, and we're back at it with the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast. I believe this is episode now 203. Yes, I said it, 203. And what you just saw was an amazing performance reel by our special guest tonight. But before we get started, hope everyone is having an amazing Friday. Guys, if you're going out tonight, be safe, dance all night, network with people, love on each other, and most of all, guys, everyone, let's have a great 2022, a great weekend. And honestly, already this Friday starting off amazing. I'm really pleased to announce that we have an artist here that I've been following for quite some time. Her journey is far more extensive than what I've seen, but honestly, being able to highlight her accomplishments and celebrate her as an artist, this is why we have this platform. And honestly, I'm pleased to announce we have the one and only Misha Moraes.
Hello.
Hello, Misha. First of all, that performance way was something else. I mean, listen, you are a woman of many talents.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I don't like to keep all my beans in one jar.
Absolutely. I mean, most people think, when you're dancing, realizing, there's some artists out there that have so many different disciplines. West African, you salsa, Afro-Cuban, just everything that it entails, but realizing you've been on stages at festivals and congresses, worked with people like Lyric Cruz, done the World Salsa Summit, but really your resume really extends far out. So having you on this platform truly means a lot.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. So Misha, for me, as we've talked as well privately, realizing that a person like yourself, whose resume is really long in terms of just your dance career, for me, seeing you with people like Hunter, I believe it's Hunter Howd. Hopefully, I'm not saying the last name wrong.
It's Hunter Hood.
Hunter, I'm sorry, Hunter Hood, but also different collaborations you've been able to do over the years, but also even solo work. I mean, just seeing really you have not just so much talent, but a gift. I think and I have to honestly say that for me, having this platform means a lot because artists like yourself, we love to celebrate, you guys at showcases, letting you know how amazing you did, and also being inspired by your performances. But having a platform like this that gets to have you be celebrated, not just for the artistry, but as a human being is so much more important. So, of course, we've seen what you've done over the past few years, but we know that story goes far back. So, kind of give us an understanding on who Misha Morales is before the showcases, before the makeup, the costume, before it all.
Oh, wow. Where to start? So my dance journey started back in the my senior year of high school, actually.
Hmm.
Just to go a little bit further back, I am from the South Bronx. Born
Hey,
and,
represent.
yes, born and raised in the South Bronx. Um, New Yorican because
Okay.
Puerto Rican background, born in, of course, the Bronx.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yes, I started dancing my senior year of high school because that's when they introduced a dance program
Hmm.
to our school, and my it changed my life in the sense of really allowing me to hone my creativity.
Hmm.
And my dance instructor, she's I'm so grateful to have had her as my first dance instructor. Her name is Michelle Grant Murray, and she is currently the director of the dance program at Miami Dade Kendall campus down in Miami, Florida.
Okay.
Yes. So I went to high school in Florida. And I started dance there. Our base training was in West African
Mm.
dance, ballet, hip hop, jazz, and flamenco.
Wow.
And outside of that, we also did a lot of Afro Caribbean dances.
Hmm.
And from there, I decided to become a dance major in college. I double majored. I majored in dance and criminal justice.
Okay, all right.
I
Sounds
know.
like a police officer. It sounds like you saving lives by day and dancing by night. Okay.
Listen, that was the dream. That was the dream. So I majored in dance and criminal justice, and the beautiful part about that is that I had my same dance instructor from high school. She was
Mm.
our instructor in college as well. She moved up with us.
She just miraculously was in the same position for
No,
you.
so it was a great foundation. It was a great foundation, and I specifically love that. She is an African American woman.
Hmm.
So there's a different approach in regards to structure and how dance was taught to us, and that foundation I can never have it replaced. You know, um, even now I still we're still in communication. I check in with her at times, and she's a wonderful, wonderful mentor, and I appreciate everything that I had learned from her, and her teachings helped guide me through my dance career to where I am today.
Wow.
um, yes, yes, so that's a little bit of backstory of how I started. And then eventually, a couple of years ago, I decided that I wanted to really immerse myself in a big, big, big dance community. So
Hmm.
I moved back to New York from Florida, and I was still immersed in my modern dance.
Hmm.
I was training vigorously at ALE, at BDC, auditioning for companies. And on the other side, I always knew I wanted to join the Latin dance community.
Mm.
I had a friend who took me out to a social one night, and that was it. I was like, I am going to do this.
Oh, I mean, and we got to thank that friend. I don't know if you want to give that friend a shout out, but
Yes, my beautiful friend, her name is Misha Morris. She is currently based in Texas. She is a
mm,
beautiful, beautiful dancer, a sister for life. And yeah, she was the one who introduced me to the salsa scene out here.
yeah, so then what was that event? What was that first event?
Candela Fridays.
Oh, I mean that's a perfect one for a person who's coming back and trying to get involved in the scene, especially Candela Fridays with Alex El Maestro and that Salsa Mania family. I think it was kind of a match made in heaven. I mean, what was that like actually going back to New York at this event? Really, that first dance you had with someone.
It was, it was like, oh, I can't even put a word.
Yeah.
I just, I love dance. I just
Mhm.
loved it. And to just see, like, oh, wow, this is happening on this level, because it was like, wow, there's salsa everywhere. Everyone's dancing it, So it was just one of those things, like, I just wanted to dive in. I was like, all right, I don't
Mhm.
care if I'm not doing the steps right. I know how to dance salsa, but we're talking about
Mhm.
street salsa versus,
Yes.
you know,
Structured, formal. Yeah.
salsa.
Wow.
But I got on that dance floor and I was moving, and then it just took off from there. That's how I met a lot of the people
Mhm.
that are in my life today.
Man, and then that's special. So, a question I have for you is: you coming from already a well-versed, a well-rounded dance background, coming into the Latin dance world, specifically salsa, in
Hmm.
New York, with New York being quote unquote the mecca of salsa, especially with dancing. Did you feel like then when you're starting to learn, was it a lot easier to grasp you having that experience of having so many different disciplines, or were there some struggles?
Um, I do feel that it was an advantage that I was already a dancer. I
Hmm.
already came from a dance background. So I was able to learn and pick up steps really fast.
Yeah.
Now, the difficult part was learning how to adapt what I had been trained to do in my body in
Hmm.
accordance to what was being asked to in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
because it's totally different in regards
Yes.
to your posture,
Yep.
your weight transference, everything. And because I came from a very, very, very Afro based background,
Yeah.
it was very hard for me to elongate, like, and
Yeah.
of not
Everything.
being so grounded, right? Because
Hmm.
I'm used to just being like really grounded in bent positions. Whereas
Yeah.
in Latin dance, you have heels on, and there's a little bit of the ballroom influence in there in
Yes.
regards to the straight legs. So, adapting to that was what I struggled with the most.
Mm. And
But
so then,
I was eager to learn it, and because I already had that dance background,
yeah.
I was soaking it up. I was like, "Give it to me."
Hey, I mean, because again, I've talked to many people, whether they're transplants to New York, whether they're from New York or visited. Many people say New York is a tough place to make it. I mean, I've talked to many people. I've had the experience of watching or going to a show and seeing people. The performers expect sometimes I'm going to get this large ovation, and it's not what they expected. And
New York
I've
is so proud.
listen, but so that's why I kind of it segues for me trying to understand. Then of course you were able to train and train and train, and then it comes a point where you're actually then performing. So what was that transition like for you?
I because while I was in college, I was on the stage a lot.
Hmm.
As a dance major, you are one of the requirements is that you are part of the dance company. So
Hmm.
that is a whole nother level of training,
Yeah.
rehearsals, learning how to do tech, stage management. There's a whole bunch that comes with that. So I was already used to being on the stage.
Mm.
So I enjoyed it. That's what I looked forward to. I was, of course, everyone has their nerves and everything before get on a stage, but it wasn't it wasn't new to me. Um, so my first time actually getting on the stage doing Latin dance, if I remember correctly, it was at the Calgary Salsa Congress.
Ooh, wow, a Congress. That's like the
So that
you,
was like
you,
my big like
yeah.
initiation into like performing on stage was my first competition. Because
Wow.
literally I had started training in in Latin dance that January of my first year back in New
Hmm.
York, and by March I was already competing.
And what year would that be?
2017.
Okay. That's interesting. Hey, but that shows really the dedication. And we have to give a big shout out to Mr. Guy Lavelle here, saying representing the Boogie Down Bronx as
Yeah.
well. He acts as. Do you think it is more difficult for classically trained dancers to go into salsa, or vice versa?
Ooh, okay. I can say yes and no, depending on the dance background that you have,
Mm,
right? Because salsa is a very Afro based dance form. Like many of the dances that we know or originated from an African dance style. So,
hmm.
depending on the type of background training that you have, it can assist you with learning salsa.
Hmm.
There's always going to be some difficulties in regards to upper body movement,
Hmm.
right? Like salsa, I can say this. A classically trained ballet dancer will have a lot of difficulty um, adjusting to salsa because of the specific movements
Yes.
and body opposition,
Hmm.
right? You know, you have a lot of torso movement, shoulder, hip,
Yeah.
right? So it can be a little difficult at times, not impossible, but
Hmm.
it can be very challenging.
I mean, hey, coming from a classically trained person like yourself, it's I think that's the perfect understanding because everybody's different. But like you
Yes.
said, certain disciplines may give an advantage or maybe a disadvantage in the beginning, and having to kind of rewire your body.
Exactly, exactly. But the great thing is that whatever dance form you are trained in, you
Mhm.
can always apply it to another.
And see that's what I think also many people who get into certain dance disciplines have a hard time understanding. Like that's why it's also called fusion. There's a
Hmm.
way to blend those two
Exactly.
styles.
So, everything, it's, it's not to say just completely forget what you learn.
Mhm.
No, no, you just need to figure out how to adapt that to this next style that you are doing.
Absolutely. And so, before we get into our other questions, one question I had was you kind of touched on it was then you going into the competition world because I think many people they realize in the scene there's the people that just love going to socials, people that love to perform, and then there's also people that love to perform but also compete. So
Hmm.
what is that feeling like, or is there a big difference in the mindset and attitude that goes into going to a congress to perform on a Saturday night than going to compete on a Saturday night? Do you feel you have to have a specific mindset, or is it just the same attitude straight?
um, in my opinion, and with my experience thus far as a competitor and have
Hmm.
gone to congresses and performed, I do believe there is a different mindset
Hmm.
because in competition, you are going for a specific reason,
Yeah.
and which is usually some of us it's for growth, others it's to win.
Yeah, of course, of
That
course.
you want to go, and it's a competition, so you're
Yeah.
competing to be the best in your category,
Hmm.
whatever that may mean for you, right? That may mean, oh, I placed 10th last year. This year, I want to move up to 7th. Whatever your goals are, right?
Gotcha.
Or if you go in, I'm going to hit first and that's it, then that's what you're going to be focused on. And you're going to train in that mindset. In regards to a Congress, I feel that yes, you're performing, and yes, it's like, wow, you're showcasing yourself in front of hundreds and hundreds of people. But there is a different attack to it.
Mm.
You're, and again, this is my personal opinion. Everyone has
Yeah.
their own ideas and, their own mindset of, how they feel when they go to a Congress and a competition.
Yeah.
I like to look at it as, this is what I do. I enjoy doing this, whether it's on the competition side or just the performance side.
Yeah.
And I'm just sharing my art with my audience, right? With my community
Hmm.
around me. So I don't go in as like hard on myself when it's a Congress. Yes, I go
Yeah.
in saying that, all right, I'm going to perform to my best ability,
Yes.
but I know I'm not being judged.
And see, I asked that because I've met artists that they feel like they have the same mindset, whether it's a competition or Congress. I mean, I've met people like yourself that have the same focus, and I love to hear the different answers because, hey,
Yes. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was saying just that in general, I love understanding that not everyone is the same.
Hmm.
Not everyone thinks the same, and that's okay. So hearing kind of your perspective of it is definitely warranted.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, and um, it's not to take away and any let me rephrase this. You can keep the same mindset,
Hmm.
right? In regards to how dedicated you are in your training,
Hmm.
your articulation, what you're trying to present
Yes.
as an artist, right? But there is a big difference in regards to training to compete and then just training to perform.
Mm. No, I totally understand,
Mhm.
and for me, it really is. I think it has a lot to do with your teachings, the people who have taught you, your mentors, or the ones that have been teaching you for years, or the company you've been a part of. That kind of you believe it or not, whether you're working with them or not, you still have that bit of representation. Sometimes something lingers from that time and that experience because, like yourself, you've trained in different fields and you take bits and pieces from everything that you've learned, and that really kind of makes you who you are. So
Mhm.
now really understanding, of course, coming back in 2017, being able to compete and everything like that. And then also now with COVID, when COVID hit, in 2020, early 2020, realizing our community really was going to change. And currently in 2022, I think that what I had said about that years ago about how our scene is going to be different. The same people we knew 2019, either they're maybe dancing, maybe not in the same capacity, but also now it's a new generation of our community
Mhm.
that we're seeing because again, now seeing new dancers coming to classes, new dancers coming to festivals and congresses. For you, what has that been? How has that been like for you? Being a person that was dancing for so many years, and then especially in New York, really now in 2022, like the community. Have you seen that the community has changed? Have you kind of observed some different things from your point?
Hmm. It's a tough question. um, I mean, I felt the pandemic did change a lot. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of people left, a lot of people stopped dancing,
Mm-hmm.
or a lot of people took a break.
Yeah.
Uh, and there was a shift. There was a shift I feel within our community. Um, hmm, this is a tough one. This is a tough one for me to
Mm-hmm.
answer. I feel certain people's drive to continue within our community has like really flourished, and then
Mm-hmm.
others that have taken a step back and realized that this isn't really the community that they want to be in.
Yes.
You
No,
know,
totally understand. Totally understand.
we've seen both sides of people leaving, some people coming in, and then also seeing um, the reasons on why people are starting to join this community,
Hmm.
right? What is the intention of being within the salsa community or even the bachata community or just in general Latin dance, this bubble that we've created.
Yeah.
um yeah, so I don't know if I answered. I don't know if I
No, no,
answered.
no, no. I totally understand, and from my honest standpoint,
It's hard for me to put to words what I've been seeing or experiencing. There's been
mhm,
highs and lows in
yeah.
the community. There has been a lot of awakening. I can say that. There has been a lot of awakening. Uh, yes, that's
Listen, and I totally accept your answer, and I would say from my standpoint, being a person, and I've told many people, when many people I've known that started dancing maybe 2016, 2015, 2017, because those seem like the magical years, especially in New York, that
Mhm.
I started influx of just people coming in. But
Yes.
me dancing since '96 and being younger than a teen in this adult world, I had to grow up a lot faster. But that also meant I was in an adult world where you're going to perform and you socialize, but also backstage you learn a lot about people.
Mm.
And the thing is, what you're saying a lot of times, even what I'm saying is, even for me being outspoken on topics that I choose to speak about,
Uh-huh.
I do it because it comes from a place of experience.
Uh-huh.
It comes from having someone who doesn't want to say an experience they had. And if I bring that out and realizing so many others have gone through the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
and most of the time people will write to me and say, thank you for saying that because I'm nervous of saying that because I fear what the repercussions or backlash. But for me, I always tell people I have nothing to lose and everything to gain, because when some people will say, why are you talking about this? I have so many others that say thank you, because these
Mm-hmm.
issues aren't new. Everything that I mainly have said, in my opinion, from my experience, there is some truth to it. It just depends on who.
100%. It's I think it comes down to having the courage to speak up regardless of what the repercussions are.
Yes.
And and it's difficult. It is difficult because we live in a community where it's like you say one thing wrong, or you are speaking up too much, you get shunned. You're the outsider because you're the one that's calling the BS when you see it, right? But because you're doing that, you're going to ruin it for.
The collective of people, yes. And that's the thing for me, is that even the topics we've talked about privately that we've spoken of, even when if we're talking about the way artists are treated by organizers, or if we're talking about, listen, and for me, I'm the one who has no problem saying it because I know these organizers. They're
Uh,
the ones having conversations, but I don't have to tell people your name. But when the community starts speaking up and saying, whoa, yeah, I dealt with this, I dealt with this, and then that person wants to promote their event, they're realizing the community now is speaking more than ever, because with COVID, it's made people rethink, is
mhm.
this something I want to keep being a part of if nothing is changing that I see wrong? And, as we've talked as well, the topic of colorism, whether it's in mainstream movies, whether it's in our own communities as well. For me, as an Afro Latino male, who's
Uh-huh.
also just biracial and just, but for me, I love when people can have these conversations respectfully, like as we talked with in the Heights, the
Mhm.
lack of colorism, or the lack of Afro Latino representation in the main character roles is an issue for people. While
Mhm.
other people are more like, no, let's celebrate those that we know. But I understand, like for me, and as we talk, I didn't have to make a live video about my reaction. I soaked
Mhm.
it in, I understood, I observed. And for me, it's that, yeah, I want to appreciate the artists that I get to see on the mainstream, that I've danced with, talked to, went to events with. But at the same time, yeah, I do want to see more representation in Afro Latino. Like, it's not a problem to have both. It's just more of, hey, I think more than ever in 2022, but overall these past few years, I think more people are more open to saying how they feel. But
Mhm.
as you say how you feel, especially on social media, just be prepared that not everyone's always going to agree.
100%. And we many of us have mentioned, and like I mentioned to you,
Mhm.
earlier when we were talking, we all have our opinions,
Yeah,
and not everyone's going to agree on everything. Um, but the reality is there is right and there is wrong.
absolutely. Absolutely. And it's true. And for me, again, being able to just highlight artists like yourself, a woman of color, but also a woman in this industry, is very important for me, because I've had so many talks with females
Mhm.
telling me that there is not much of a highlight of a representation of not just the artists who are women, but the women who are also organizers and promoters. Because again, So many women have told me privately how it's such a male dominated industry,
Oh, 100%, and it still is.
but it's a male dominated industry that a lot of their clients are women.
Yes.
So the thing is that for me to say, like, yeah, I see the correlation of you need to treat and better represent the women in our scene than just having them on a fly as a headline.
Instead of just using us as a prop.
Absolutely. And because I'm gonna be totally honest, in my personal opinion, when it comes to couple routines, for example, I'm just saying couple routines. And I don't know if many people don't understand this. I've known this in New York. People can agree or not. Most of the time, when it's a couple routine, they're focused on the girl. They are not. We can
That is very true. And because one of the things I can say that some, because I've trained under a couple of people,
Mhm.
and one of the things that they say in regards to the lead is that your job is to showcase your follow.
You're the portrait, and we are the frame.
Exactly. So like a lot of the eye, like you want the audience's eye to like really feed into
Yes.
your follow. And I don't know if, and it's probably because we are the women, and we're, the way we're dressed, and we're the ones that are usually doing the tricks.
Yes. We're gonna keep it honest.
You know,
Listen.
and to be honest, I feel the women, we do, mm, 85, 90% of the work.
Listen, you ain't lying, because for my many showcases or my many times being a spectator at these socials, congresses, and festivals, I've realized that I've also talked to these organizers backstage of, you understand now that we need more representation of women, whether it's female teachers who are solo, whether, for me, I love to just see more and more women coming, but also more and more women of color, because
Mhm.
that's for me is a topic that it didn't just hit home within the Heights. This has been a topic for
Oh,
years.
yes.
So
In every dance field, in every
yeah,
dance
and you
community.
know, yeah, and for me, seeing a person like yourself, whether you've done your collaborations with male artists, whether you've done your own personal work, whether you worked with different companies, you still keeping your individuality is truly key. And just seeing through your endless array of visuals I've seen with different people, whether you've worked with Anna, Sophia, whether you've done the World Salsa Summit, I mean, even when you did Latin Rage with Lyric, I mean, it's like, hey, I think the word I can say for you is versatile. The versatility is there. But now I think it helps us transition to our last segment called the randoms, which is about 5 to 10 questions that I have here that may deal with dance, that may deal with life and everything in between. So all I need to know is when you are ready.
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. I need you to describe yourself in one word.
Oh, one word. Okay. Survivor.
Hmm. That definitely, I can see in the emotion of it. That definitely rings true. And hey, you got to be a survivor, especially if you're from New York. You're a survivor no matter what. All right. Our next question here. We're gonna bring it back now to Florida. So, can you give me a fun fact about Miami?
Haha, fun fact. Oh man. Um, wow. What don't you know about Miami? Like you see it on
I mean,
everywhere. I guess like what I can say, a fun fact about Miami is that there there is a beautiful dance community out there.
mm.
That is still, I feel it's still a little
It's
hidden.
still growing, but it's growing.
but there are beautiful artists out there.
Okay. See, I could see like you really thought about that because again, in Florida you got Tampa Bay, you got Orlando, you got the Keys,
I
but
mean,
you know I feel like
yeah, go ahead.
Miami. I'm sorry. What did you say?
No. You said the Keys. I was.
No, well, the Key, like Key West. I mean, you got some little places there, but in reality, I was surprised to hear that Miami was actually one of the smaller dance communities. I thought it would have been a much larger one.
No, I mean, there are a lot of beautiful artists there, and there's beautiful work that goes on. There are a lot of venues out there too that are always presenting works of
Hmm.
art. But it's just not broadcasted as much,
Gotcha.
in
Hey,
my personal opinion.
no lie, and I'll tell you this. I definitely hope as well we see more and more of what Miami has to offer. All right, let's keep it back in Miami. And can you give me your favorite place to eat in Miami?
To be honest,
Oh,
I didn't have a favorite place, man.
ooh.
If I didn't, I've never been one to have a favorite place. I
Ooh.
enjoy food,
Okay.
but I can say if you the Colombian food truck in Kendall Drive.
Oh, and you said food truck, so I know you know your foods because
Food
the
truck.
some of the best food is on a food truck.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, I'm gonna go when I go to Miami. I'm gonna look back at this interview at
Listen,
around 37 minutes.
nice big patacon and just
Ooh.
devour it.
Perfect. I love that. I just see like just how excited you get. All right, this one now we're gonna take it into dancing, but not so much. So if you aren't dancing, you are doing blank.
Are we keeping this on a hobby side, or is this
Yeah, hobby side.
um if I'm not dancing, I enjoy running in regards
Okay.
to how, like, you know, athleticism. I love to run and I like to work out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like that. Hey, you got to keep fit somehow, no matter what. All right. Next question is if you can go to one planet, where would it be?
Can I just like hang out in the galaxy? Like,
Hey, if you want to hang out in the galaxy, dude, you could do that.
I'm just
There
gonna be
you
in
go.
the galaxy.
I love it. All right, this one is going to be very, very interesting. I don't know if it'll be a controversial one, but can you give me your biggest pet peeve on the dance floor?
Oh,
Yeah. Yep, I can see the eye roll and the.
one.
No, it can be multiple if you choose
So one of my biggest pet peeves is when the lead doesn't lead.
to.
They
Oh,
just
thank
stand there and do like this with you and expect you
you.
to do
Yeah.
everything. Like, it's like you should know how to do that, and it's like, no.
No, you should know how to lead me.
Or the individuals who assume you want to be lifted.
Whew, man, the amount of as a videographer, the amount of footage I have never put out because of
Uh,
like the deer in the headlights look of the follow when they're being lifted without even like
it's like, wait,
uh
what are you
yeah,
doing?
what are we doing?
You know? And I think another one of the last pet peeve that I'll
Mhm.
give here is people acknowledging and not getting upset when an individual, and then when an individual politely tells you, I need a break.
Yes.
Because it happens often where it's like someone, will, come up to you, hey, can I have a dance? And you just politely say, let's do the next one. I just need to take my breath.
Yeah.
And they get upset. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, you told me no. And it's like, at the end of the day, I'm a person. Like, I need to,
Yes.
like, I love dancing. I know we're here to dance, but I also need to take care of myself and my body so I can last the night.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey,
no is no, and you should be okay with that, because if it was vice the other way around and I asked you to dance and you told me no, you're like, okay, no worries, maybe we can get the next one. I'm
There
not
you
saying
go.
I'm going to dance with you for the whole night. I'm just saying I need a break this song.
There you go. I could feel the Bronx just like from every hand gesture. It was like, hey,
I I can't stand that. Like, it's so
yeah,
infuriating. They make it seem like it's like, oh my God, you committed the biggest sin or whatever you want to describe it as by telling them no. It's like, all right, just calm down. It's okay. We still got 4 hours
yeah.
to go. Like,
Hey, but listen, people, you gotta allow people to dance when they want to dance. It's not on your time. It's
no.
on our time when we feel
Right.
comfortable. So hey, I'm all for that. All right, next one is if you could have one last meal right now, what would it be?
Oh, I'm just keeping it traditional. Arroz con gandules, pernil, and maduros. If you don't got maduros, give me some tostones.
All right, con ajo
What?
or mayo ketchup.
That sauce.
There you go. There you go. I see. I love that. Just like it's just quick with it. All right. This one should be fun. Right now, if you could be at one event, right now, it could be something you went to years ago or something you would love to go to or have been to. What event would that
To be honest, I have no clue. Let me think about this. Let me think about this. If I had one event that I would like to revisit, it could be in the
be?
past or,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
you know what? I would revisit my first ROTC competition.
Ooh, we're talking about DNC drilling ceremony too. Oh, I know about that.
I was on the exhibition team, so we did it was beautiful, and that was such a great time. Such the events were amazing.
Mhm.
So if I can go back to an event, I would love to go back.
Hey, I love that. I love that answer. All right, our second to last one is if you have the last song of the night at one of your favorite events, you can only have one partner. Who is that dance partner?
Oh, um, I would have to say Andrew Avila.
Oh, okay.
He's just a beautiful person in and
Mhm.
out, amazing dancer, and it's great connecting with him on the dance floor, no matter what dance style it is.
Mm. That's awesome. And to mention Andrew, even me and Andrew went to the same dance school, Starlight Dance Studio. So definitely a big shout out to Andrew Avila for sure. He's definitely listen. He is one of my favorite dancers in New York. Period.
He's
And
he's a
he's
beautiful
so.
soul.
Oh
He's
yeah,
in and out.
there you go. See, I can just see like right now, if you could be there right now and just dance, you would just go all in. So I love that. All right, our last question here. I love asking this question to all of my guests, and it goes like this. Um, Misha, if years down the line, if you're in a new phase in your life, how would you like to be remembered?
I would just like to be remembered for the person that I am, right? I'm a very straightforward individual. Some people can handle it, some people can't. Um, I try and be as honest as possible, right? So, and I try to I treat everyone with kindness. I'm very giving. So if anything, I would, you know, hope to be remembered for the loving, caring, and giving individual that I am.
Mm. I can see that. I mean, hey, I can see the genuineness coming from you. And honestly, I think many people should have those same aspirations. Just being remembered as a person who you never changed for someone, you kept it real all the time. because again, whether it's in our industry and life, I mean, many people go through those battles. So, I definitely feel your journey and your career is definitely inspiring.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I just, at the end of the day, I think you should always stay true to yourself.
Hmm.
Sometimes it can benefit you and sometimes it might not.
Yeah,
But, there's only one of us, right? So how are you going to live that one life?
absolutely. You're definitely right about that. And honestly, thank you so much for doing this segment. I love doing it with every one of my guests. And now it helps us towards our conclusion of our talk tonight. And honestly, Misha, just really getting a better understanding of who Misha is, not just the artist, the dancer, the instructor, but the human being is something I really appreciate. And just being able to kind of get a few glimpses into your life because again, we can't always get through everything because our lives are like
Oh,
onions.
it's a lot.
That's it. We can definitely dive deeper.
little salt. This is
Yeah, this little salt, this little flavor enhancer. This isn't the whole,
didn't
the
even get
whole.
to the adobo sazon. None of that.
Listen, and honestly, as we talked as well, I would love to have you back on the podcast. Maybe even coming to you, maybe at a studio, and bringing this, having people really see what you go through. What do you do at at a rehearsal, just in the life of Misha Morales. And honestly, Misha, to have you on the podcast means a lot because again, not just only as an artist, but a person and a woman of color. For me, highlighting that is truly important, but a woman like yourself that whose dance resume goes back so many years, this is just another way of giving you your flowers and showing our appreciation to you.
Thank you so much. It is an honor to be here. I hope anyone watching enjoyed. And yes, I'm looking forward to our next round.
Oh yes, trust me, it's definitely going to be interesting. But at least before we do go, do you
Yes.
have any contact info on how people can reach you and see what you're up to next?
Definitely. I mean, I right now I'm very active on my Instagram, and
Mhm.
that's just my full name, Misha Morales, with an underscore at the end. I have some pretty cool projects coming up and things that I'm going to be announcing. So
Okay.
if you're interested in continuing to follow this journey that I'm on, just hit that follow button. And
Yes.
I also have Facebook. All you have to do is type in Misha Morales, and I will pop up. It's this face right here. And yes, so just give it a follow.
Hey, listen, I gave it a follow. Y'all should give it a follow. And guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Everyone that will be tuning in the future, we will be having this episode on Spotify soon. And this has been another special episode of the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast. I'm here with the one and only Misha Morales, episode 203. Get ready, guys. 204 with the one and only Leon Rose, all the way from across the world at 1 p.m. this Sunday, everyone. Stay tuned,
Yeah.
everyone. Have a great night. Stay safe. Peace.